Hello, my name is Joanna and I'm the Head of Collections at the SS Great Britain Trust. And for Women's History Month, I want to show you this lovely item. It might not look like much, but it's a beautiful, beautifully written diary by a woman called Rachel Henning. Now, she was a first-class passenger on board the SS Great Britain in 1861. She travelled out to Australia to join her siblings who had already emigrated in the 1850s. And in fact, this was Rachel's second voyage to Australia. She had already emigrated in 1854, but really found Australia a world apart from her kind of middle-class upbringing in Somerset. She was born into an affluent middle-class family, but by the time she was 19, she found herself without a mother or a father, and as the oldest child, she was left in charge of her 4 younger siblings. Because of her brother's ill health, the siblings decided to emigrate to Australia and try life in a bit more of a suitable climate for his condition. And Rachel went with them initially, but really was at odds with both socially and ideologically to the life she was used to in Devon and Somerset. But when she returned to the UK only 3 years later, she really was very lonely and missed her siblings. So in 1861, she finally decided to make a go of it, emigrate to Australia and try for good. And this diary chronicles her journey on board the SS Great Britain. She has some wonderful descriptions in there, how she goes down for a visit into the engine room in her long Victorian dresses, and she gives some really detailed accounts and assessments of her fellow travellers. But I wanted to highlight this entry here. On the 29th of May, the ship is a few days out of Melbourne, and it's her birthday. She celebrates her 35th birthday on board the ship, and she just says it's a normal day, but she just starts very matter of fact, my birthday, and then describes a very common day as it would have been on board the ship. She goes for a walk around the deck with Captain Grey. She has a late midnight feast of bread and cheese in her cabin that somebody snuck out of the kitchen for her, which is lovely. But when she arrives in Australia the second time around, she really takes to the life in the Australian outback. She establishes a large sheep farm with her brother in Queensland, and really enjoys the life in the outback. She tells of long horseback journeys, goes riding, is camping out under the stars, is cooking on the campfire, and she really takes to that life, free of all kind of social norms that would have restricted her life in England. She then goes against her family's wishes and marries a man in her late 30s who was working on her brother's farm. Her family considered him to possibly be socially beneath her, but she'd made up her mind, she was in love, and she married him. They had a wonderful life together, very fulfilled life in Australia. And only when she was widowed in her old age, she rejoined one of her sisters in Sydney, and they both lived together until the end of her days. She died in 1915 in Sydney, and had a really wonderful life in Australia. And I think a woman like Rachel Henning is to be admired because she was without parents at the young age of 19. She was a caring sister, made sure her siblings were taken care of. But at the same time, she grew into a woman who went against social norm, lived the life on her own terms, in a time when that might not have been easily achievable for a woman, and had a fulfilled and happy life. And I think that's something to be admired and possibly aspire to.